Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Transatlantic. This is their part number Dl Dl238 Us3. This is a replacement deadlocking latch bolt, 2 3/8 back set in a US3 polished brass finish. This is going to be used on their SV and LSV series lock sets, and quite frankly, this design is so generic that it's likely to fit on a dozen other type lock sets as well. Sometimes you need to pinch this down a little bit, these two shoulders here, to get it to slide onto the chassis. Sometimes, of course, you'll need to grind the tip of this down a little bit because as you rotate the knob or the lever, it will not actually draw the latch fully flush and back to the unit. Sometimes it'll only come that far. But at the end of the day, if you can make those adjustments, or if you have a generic imported lock, or even if it's a domestically manufactured grade 2 cylindrical lock, it's possible this very inexpensive latch bolt will fit. I've done it countless times in that scenario. Anyway, this is meant for transatlantic locks, however. Let's go over its dimensional properties. 2 1/4 is the height, 1 inch is the width, and 1 inch is very common for 2 3/8 latch bolts. 1 inch and 1.1 is common, of course, for 2 3/4 latch bolts. Now, the projection of this bolt is 1/2 inch, which is common and typical, which will make it compatible with common electric strikes. This is a deadlocking, a DL version rather than the SL. A DL version is, the giveaway is this little trigger that's here. Okay? You're going to use that on any keyed function, any function that has a key. If it's a passage or a privacy, you don't want a deadlocking function. You can use it, but you don't want it. You want a spring latch version. What's the difference? In the proper installation of a deadlocking latch bolt, when the latch bolt hits the lip of the strike and then goes into the hole, proper installation will force the deadlocking trigger to stay retracted and not go into the hole. Well, when that's held in, you can no longer push the latch. When it's not retracted, you can push in the latch. That works to make the lock jimmy-proof. That's the purpose of that deadlocking tab, and you'll certainly want to order it correctly. Now, there's nowhere on here that you can measure 2 3/8. There just isn't. The face of the latch to the back of the chassis is about 1.5 inches. A 2 3/4 latch will certainly be longer. This housing will be longer. How you measure a 2 3/8 is just simply the edge of the door to the center of the hole that's been drilled in the door. It's really not the edge of the door, because if your door is beveled, are you measuring on the big side or the small side, the push side or the pull side? The back side is actually measured from the center of the thickness of the door to that center line. So it actually is going to be, and not to make this an unnecessarily technical explanation, but nonetheless, it's nice to know. Quick little, if you're looking in a cross section of the door, here's your door edge, and the door will swing in that direction. Okay, edge of the door to the center of that 2 1/8 inch hole is going to be your back set. If your door is square edged, just simply doesn't matter where you're measuring it from, and it's likely that it is, but it's also very likely that it is beveled. So your dimension is, if it's beveled, will either be like 2 7/16 or it's going to be like 2 5/16 if it's beveled. So just keep that in mind. There's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure, which is very handy, as it will allow you to review the commercial lock sets from Transatlantic. And in conclusion, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Transatlantic products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Now, I'm quite partial to Transatlantic, and it's specifically for the reason that my family's been selling this line since the 1970s. Why? We're not really sentimental folks, but the reason you keep going back is because it's exceptional quality. Their door closers, their exit devices, their hinges, and their lock sets. I would stack that material from Transatlantic up against anyone's material, dollar for dollar. If you are an installer of doors and frames, you are going to be able to buy these very high quality, very reasonably priced imported builder's lock sets on your steel doors and frames, sell them to your client at a reasonable markup. Your client will say, good quality stuff, and I didn't spend a lot of money. So in the area where you really need a compromise between very low end and exceptionally high end, that transatlantic fits right in the middle, and the difference is that you get more value for the dollar. That's just my experience. Their door closers, I can probably count on one hand the number of defective door closers that I've had from transatlantic in a quarter century, and that's just simply not an exaggeration. And as a matter of fact, their ED-501 exit device, I've had one fail in over 25 years. And that was only because I was called to the job site after being yelled at that the device had failed, and I was beyond disbelief that it occurred. When I got to the job site, the installer welded it to the door and literally vaporized a spring that held the latch bolt, made it pop back out. So that was not a defect, and the client, of course, purchased a new exit device. If you have any questions on the transatlantic Dl-Dl238 Us3 replacement latch or any other transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.